Welcome to Under Construction, where it's all pure side talk. Yes, we like to tackle the big issues that affect tradespeople both on and off site, while having a little bit of fun along the way. And today we are joined by Tipperary royalty. No, Pat and Fea Short aren't back. We have the brilliant Seamus Callanan and John McGrath. We're going to be chatting about All-Stars, All-Irelands and what it takes to represent the Premier. Put in the gum shield, stick on the helmet, flick on the kettle. Let's get it done. Seamus, John, you are so welcome to Under Construction. Thanks so much for joining us. I know you have the All-Irelands, lads, but there's the leaderboard here that I wouldn't mind getting you on top of. Philly McMahon, the dub, is top of our Get a Grip. So basically, you might be used to this. It's a grip strength challenge if you're up for it.
Okay.
I think he could be best placed, John, if he compete among yourselves. You know what I mean?
Don't look at the board.
Don't look at the board, is right. So it's in kgs. Philly McMahon, a great dub, top of the list on 65.6 kgs. So John, come on now, give it some for Tipp, kid.
Don't expect too much.
Oh, come on. Go on, John, give it some. He's too giddy.
We weren't told about this.
Yeah, brilliant. What are we on there, John?
48.2. You bet Pat
Not
Short
too bad, not too bad.
Yeah. You beat Pat Short, which is currency in Tipperary.
Oh, Lord.
I'll just go.
Yeah, go for it, brother. Go on. Oh, jeez, look at that. There's a 4.
Bit of popping going on.
Yeah.
Okay, 59.7. I'll go again.
Yeah, okay, I love it. Come on. Seamus, you have it. Come on, top it now. Come on, Tipp.
No, 61.4.
Oh, 61.4.
One more in there.
Yes.
Take a break.
He's slowly creeping up. We'll do it again at the end if you want, lads.
No, I went down there. So 61.4, I'm on his own.
61.4. We'll come back to it.
Respectable, no.
Yeah.
Third place so far.
Yeah. Unlike the dubs to be rubbing it in.
Yeah.
Seamus, I'll go to you. Obviously, inter-county retirement. How's that going for you when you see the likes of John going on and picking up silverware? Is it difficult or are you enjoying it?
So I absolutely enjoyed following the lads, to be fair. So I'm gone 2 years. I suppose if it happened in the first year I was gone, I'd feel like I missed out on it. But no, when I finished up, I suppose I was ready to go, and I knew I was only kind of going for the last year, and I knew that at the start of the year. So I kind of just threw everything at that. And then, I've been at every match since. I still have great friends on the panel. So I was thrilled this summer to go and see the lads, because, Tipperary hurling and Tipperary supporters, they expect a lot, and I could see how hard it was for the lads even last year, because it didn't work out for them or whatever. And just to see the bounce back this year and to see them get up the steps of the Hogan stand, it was unbelievable. And you still get that feeling, whether you're playing or not, you row in, you're from Tipperary. It's so special to see it. And look, for the likes of John, I've heard of John for years, Noel McGrath, all these guys, and for them to get their reward, Ronan Maher go up the steps, you still feel, a special connection to those people, because everything you've achieved, they've been on that journey with you as well. So I was absolutely thrilled for the lads. It was such a brilliant year.
Seamus, that's what makes it different, isn't it? That even though you're in your boots, you're connected, you're in the stand, you're connected. It is hard to explain to anyone who isn't Irish that doesn't understand that community, that kind of sense of place.
Yeah, definitely. And I just think in the stand, you're still playing every ball. The ball goes into the full forward line, you're still going, you're nearly moving in your chair thinking what move would you make yourself, or you just feel you're really engrossed in it. So I don't think I'll ever be able to go to a match that I'll just be a supporter that sees it from a neutral point of view. It's all great, the All-Ireland finals, they're brilliant, but the journey of it all, and the friendships and the hardship and everything that becomes part of being a Tipperary player, it makes you, and the bad days, they really make you. And then you appreciate the good days. So I know what the lads are going through. I know what they went through last year when it wasn't working. I have a sense of what they're going through now at the top of it all. And it's a hard slog. And, and it's hard because obviously only one team can win it. So, everyone's putting in the slog. But
of course,
I think especially even this year with that team, there was just a real honesty about the team. And it was I won't say there was no stars. There's obviously a lot of stars. But I suppose the vibe that came across from that team to every supporter there was, how together that team was and how much fight they were willing to give for each other to get each other over the line. And to get the rewards then was just a special feeling for everyone in the stadium that day to see it.
Absolutely. And I'd agree with you. Even as a Cork man, you could see that togetherness.
Yeah.
And John, that's probably earned on the hard days. You know, we all look at the second half and, you know, Croke Park, brilliant. But it's no one ever looks at the shitty pre-season nights where, you know what I mean, you're dragging each other along, you're finding another gear, or the tough days like Seamus said last season.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. And it was probably a little bit more than even last season, I suppose. There was a couple of tough years, but certainly, yeah, there was a huge togetherness in the squad. And like you said, that's built up in Dr. Morris Park and that in Thurles on miserable, wet, snowy January and February nights. And it just, you know, we were probably thinking at the start of this year, All-Irelands were probably very, very much in the back of our mind. It was really about getting pride back in the Tipperary jersey and getting a bit of respect back in ourselves as well, I suppose. We were hugely disappointed and down on what had gone on maybe in a couple of the previous years. But it's funny then in sport, you pick up a couple of good results and you get on a bit of a roll. You don't know where it can take you then, like. And definitely, like you spoke about, that togetherness, like we needed that at a lot of different stages during the year. Couple of knocks, the league final, and in the first or in the second game, the Munster Championship against Cork, like that could have derailed us quite easily, maybe other times. But no, in fairness to a man, like everyone just put their shoulder to the wheel, like, and you can't have success like we had without everyone buying in.
John, we'll break it all down in time, but just you mentioned those moments, those ones that could derail you. You mentioned the second round and the league finals. What was different there? How didn't that kind of negative vibe sit in? Was there certain individuals? Was there leadership from the top? Who grabbed it by the balls to say, you know what I mean, let's not go off here, we're on it?
It's probably just a collective. Maybe lads have had a little bit more experience. You know, the likes of, I suppose, Ronan has been huge the last couple of years, and he probably dragged lads along at times. You know, Noel in there as well has always been a good leader, and you know, different words at different times, but there was never anything too much. There was never lads talking for the sake of talking, maybe. We had our bank of work done and we had a bit more belief in ourselves, maybe. The management probably helped to put a bit more belief into ourselves this year. And it's just getting little things right like that. Maybe we trained a bit smarter instead of we did train really hard, but couple of tweaks maybe from previous times just made the difference. And just that belief and togetherness, I think lads kind of backed each other up after them tough results. And when fellas had hard moments, like even, you know, Darren McCarthy getting sent off early against Cork, and like he thundered back into the year, like, and, you know, he had just had everyone had huge support around him. And that's probably what kind of kept us on track.
Seamus, that sending off was quite incredible. Being from a rugby mindset, someone's sent off before the game even kicks off. Like, just in context, especially with a younger player, because you want to be at the level. But just how important is it, you know what I mean, the leadership of senior players to get around him there in those moments? I know, but you would have set that in kind of trend from everything you've done leadership-wise.
Yeah, well, look, I suppose the image that really jumps out at me is Noel McGrath, who was the sub that day going over. He was the first man, he ran into the field and met Dara coming off the field and put his arm around him. And that was, for me, the start of obviously a building up process again for Dara. You know, such a young player, 18 or 19 years of age, to have to deal with that, and probably got a good bit of stick from it after it, like, but he's a great player with a very strong mindset as well. But just to have the support of his panel, it was very evident straight away that there was nobody playing a blame game there. They were going to support him and bring him along. And you see the way the year went for Dara after that, it just
incredible.
exploded really. And
Yeah, it's amazing you say that though, because when you go to sport, of course you're cheering them on, but when they reveal a characteristic that you identify with, when they show honesty, when they show togetherness in those moments, that does get that buy-in. Call it 16th man or whatever it is. If you're
it just, I suppose, John, I know more about, but there just seemed to be a real connection from the people of Tipperary with that panel. And that connection, as you say, was earned not through somebody grabbing the ball and putting it in the top corner or doing something stylish on the field. It was earned through, you could see the way they were backing each other on the field. You could just see the honesty. The players that were picked because they were just 100% at everything they were going doing. Their application and their work ethic and the togetherness of the team, as I said, just radiated from the field into the stands. But they gave you reason to go out and support them.
Yeah.
It was a likeable, workmanlike team, and that's kind of why people, I suppose, they bought the tickets and they went and they got behind them.
Yeah. Shimmy, did you notice a little bit though how much it's evolved now? You say you're part of the Tipp family, but you go to a match and you see something totally different. You know what I mean? We're all watching drafts, you're watching chess.
Yeah.
You can see exactly the manipulation of space. How much has it advanced even since you started out?
Yeah, look, I started out in 2008. It's a completely different game. There was no such thing as tactics in 2008. It was just...
Yeah.
And that was brilliant as well because,
of course,
like the young lads, you were playing just the ball in front of you and there was no consequence. People say this ground hurling has gone out of the game, but if you give away possession now when you pull on the ball, you're probably going to be taken off because its possession is key. And teams are so good when they have the ball. It's so hard to get the ball back off them. So I think there's a huge, and even fitness wise, and I think you have to have the skills of the game, and that's so important. But there's nearly more of a emphasis now on athletics and actually being able to travel the ground than there is your technical ability.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd see some hurlers would actually be starting not because they're the best at hurling, but they're actually able to go and they're able to travel for the full game now, and they have speed and they have they're able to get around the field. So
their athletic profile is better. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, I think so.
You need to be a type athlete.
I think so. I think you have to have that in your game now. So whereas you didn't have to have that as much back when I started, there's a huge amount more time now probably put into your gym work. I think 2008 Tipp had only started gym work, so 2007 I don't think they were doing any, and it kind of came in 2008, and now to the level that's gone to now, that if you don't go to the gym, if you miss one gym session now you're behind.
Yeah.
Or if you're not doing your mobility when nobody sees you at home and at home in your sitting room or whatever, if you're not doing your mobility or your stretching or anything like that, you do fall behind. There's 1%ers everywhere that now you have to go after, where before it just wasn't a thing. And I think just the culture of being an inter-county hurler has probably changed.
Yeah.
It's obviously extremely disciplined. Those boys are giving up everything to do this for their county, and when you get the rewards, it's fantastic. But as I said earlier on, only one team can get the reward.
Yeah.
So it's the demands are huge, but you don't care. I suppose when you're in there, you just want to win, and when you win it, sure, it's all worth it then.
Yeah, of course. John, have you found that the demands, it is very full on. Seamus mentioned it there. We had a brilliant fitness advisor, and he said, I only see you for 4 hours in the day between when we work together. But what will define you is the other 20 hours, how you live your life, what you do in those 20 hours outside this environment show the difference.
Yeah, and you're saying they used to see you for 4 hours a day, we're probably training, maybe we're on the pitch maybe 3 times a week, so that might be only 6 hours in the week. So there is a huge emphasis on what you're doing outside of that in terms of recovering, stretching, all that kind of thing. Yeah, it was probably all kind of, it's gone up a level even since I started. It would have all been introduced at the time, but in terms of gym work, I would have done very little gym work before I joined the Tipp senior team, whereas I see lads coming in now at 19 and 20 and they're well developed, like, the development squads and things from underage, like they're being coached and taught the different techniques and stuff. And they're in the gym a bit already, like, which look, it helps them, I suppose, when they do get into the senior panel, that there's not a huge gap. There's huge time commitments. There's there's lots of meetings and things about different tactics, and you might have little bits to do before training or after training, and activation and the whole lot. It's certainly as the years push on a bit, some of them things become even more important again then. But like he said then, though, once you're enjoying it and once you're getting some success, it makes it that awful lot easier. And look, you're doing it with like-minded people, I suppose, as well, and friends and fellas you've probably played with over a lot of years. So like, I'm not going to try and make it sound like it's a chore or anything. Like it's brilliant crack. Like, when the off season comes around for the first maybe week or two, you might be glad of the break, but you're kind of nearly wondering what to do with yourself then after a while, and you'd miss it quick enough. But yeah, it's changing all the time, I suppose.
Because John, we knocked into each other in Thurles. I was getting a bit of a giggle out of it. I went for a coffee. It was after, who had you played the day before? I
think it could have been the semi-final. I can't fully remember now.
I went in to get a coffee and they were like, the lads are in the back. And I looked in the back, all the lads are in the recovery booths or the ice bath and in this cafe in Thurles, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a couple of us head down there, I suppose, after, maybe the evening before a game, we might go down to the ice baths or that, and the day or two after then we might go down and use the pumps and they have a sauna and stuff there. And that's kind of the thing everyone is doing now.
Of course, but if we go back 10 years ago, even we were dragging you out of a bar there or something, you know what I mean? Just the mindset. But you're right, you were having the crack. It seemed great fun. I was, Seamus, you'll know too, I was envious of the bond, man, that you're sitting there together in that beautiful moment after a great win, Yeah,
it's true actually, because, you wake up, you're home that morning, and it's great to go meet the lads, and you're talking all about the match and different things that went on, and they're just they're probably the people you can who understand it best, I suppose, and you're able to discuss it maybe in a bit more detail. And when they're the fellas you've gone through it with as well, and you're in the trenches with, it probably that kind of get together the following couple of days. It's just, even going for the first training session after a good result or that, or the opposite, if you're after having a bad result, it's the best place you can be to kind of get it out of the system one way or another.
It's medicine to be around in those moments, Jamie, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're just meeting up with people, and it's a routine of meeting your friends and people on the same mission.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. Like, it's not all about what happens on the Sunday or what happens on the pitch. It's you're all wondering where, what we get an extra % with, what will we do here. You're discussing the game, you're having a laugh, and it's the bond that's created probably outside the pitch that's nearly more important than what happens on the pitch.
Absolutely, yeah. Just on that, we mentioned how much it's evolved, and you see the kind of strategy side of it and the athlete side of it. But from your point of view, if you're looking to work a job and tie in around that, we've seen kind of players making decisions to pick up either roles that have more flexible time to allow for their training. Do you see that an awful lot now in intercounty hurling and even hurling in general, for our amateur players, that they have to make decisions about?
Yeah, I think so. It's very rare that you would see somebody now that's out laying blocks or milking cows, or we have plenty of lads doing that at club level, but it's a huge commitment for them.
Yeah. In
fairness to probably most of the lads that are playing, there's probably a lot of lads that are in college, probably a lot of lads that are doing primary teaching or whatever, that maybe suits a lifestyle, but there's, say, like John has a busy job, he's on the road, all day. Myself, I work in construction, Clancy Construction, I would be on the road all day, but you get the support as well from your workplace as well. And without that, it's very, very difficult to do it, So it's, I'm very lucky that when I was playing and still playing with the club or whatever, the John O'Shaughnessy, my managing director, and, all the directors, they're very supportive that you have a life outside it as well. You work hard, but I think, there's a certain mentality as well with inter-county players that they perform, when you perform at work during the day, you just have a mindset of performing.
Yeah.
So you're not two different people during the day and in the evening times. I think you work hard, you train hard, you get the results, and that drive and that discipline that the GAA creates for you is really beneficial to your working life as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's a nice trade-off there between both. Like, you can't be a high performer in the evening time and not during the day. That just doesn't happen,
Yeah.
But you definitely need the support, of an employer, and it's not support to say to give you all the time off or anything like that, but it's just that they'll, I suppose, give you any help they can to structure your week in a way that you can perform at both ends of it.
Absolutely, because no one's cutting corners there. You want to do well outside of your game as well, but I think for an employer or a partner there to see running out, you know what I mean, and reflecting them, it gives everyone that works with you a massive lift as well. That there's one of our own going out on the biggest stage and performing.
Yeah, I've no doubt. Your values and your work culture or your culture with playing with Tipperary or whatever, like that you can bring that into your day job.
Yeah.
And you can also bring what you learn in your day job a lot into what you're doing sporting wise as well. From just being around good people and on both ends, being around really good people, it can definitely benefit. So I think it's great to have a good, healthy work-life balance. It's huge. But no, I think that employers. Well, I can only speak from my experience. Anyway, my employers are brilliant towards that, and they see the value in that. So I'm very lucky. But I just suppose, as I said, you can't be one person during the day and someone different at night. So I think it does work well together. It's
amazing because you're involved in the trade side and the construction side of thing as well, and it can be difficult, as you said, not only being on the road but just the balance in it. We had Thomas Waters on, and he was saying to us one time the nutritionist kept pinging him for make sure we're eating healthy breakfasts today. But he was on the road so much, the best he could do was a breakfast roll. You know what I mean? And it's great to have the structures, and we've moved a million miles away from that now in ways. But were you finding that a little bit as well, that the strain from the kind of wave of constant improvement for the game was getting taxing?
In Tipp, we're lucky. We get really good habits and good support.
Yeah.
So I think it's very manageable to do both really well if you're prepared. And I think your biggest thing is that, your Sunday evening or whatever, that you're prepared for the week ahead. I could tell you down to a T, we get the schedule, or I used to get the Tipp schedule when I was in there, and you get that, probably what the next 2 months looks like. So there's no surprises really with it. And your own work schedule as well, what, you organise, you plan for the next week or the week ahead. And that's important then, because you can plan around your meals and, make sure that you're on top of things from the Sunday evening. We got introduced to a really good dietitian when I was there, Gary Sweeney. He's brilliant. And, he had his batch cooking and things like that, that we weren't, you didn't feel the need, you weren't missing out on your nutrition, but you didn't feel the need to stop in and get something that's handy when you're on the road. Because, if you're not prepared, you will have to stop and get something, and it's very regimental being in a setup, an inter-county setup.
Yeah.
And, you have to be very disciplined in all facets of it. And nutrition then is obviously one of those, and it's key now. So, because there's people looking for every sort of percentage you can get, whether it's dropping body fat or increased muscle or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, your goals are and your targets are there, and there's a pathway given to you to achieve those. So there is great support in that regard now. That's the thing I'd say about it. It's actually easy enough to manage it because of the support you're getting if you're prepared. But if you're not prepared, you'll struggle.
Yeah, it's funny. I was lucky to kind of play in a professional setup, but actually being professional is very simple. Do you know what I mean? When they, like we used to have in my time in Worcester, every 3 hours, no matter what was happening, a cart would come in with like fruit bowls, smoothies, different, and it was like no matter what was going on, lineouts or anything, everyone stopped the net if you were in the environment for 3 hours. It was crazy. Like, I just come back to my Munster days when lads were eating out of Tupperware in the boot of a car, just going, look how far we've come. But the advances in it, John.
Yeah, and I suppose, like you said, with fellas on the road and stuff, like it is probably easy at times maybe to stop in for those things, but if you do have, like, it's important in a setup, I suppose, like management and coaches and stuff are really important, but the likes of your S&C, your nutritionist, they're becoming ever more important in it all.
Yeah.
You need to be prepared 100% for what's coming because everyone else is doing it, like.
Yeah.
Everyone else is doing it, and look, you will still have times. I suppose I've in the last couple of years got been on the road a little bit more with work, and it probably the first couple of weeks maybe you're kind of figuring it out, but like that you kind of do have to think about it and actually put a proper bit of a plan or preparation out there for you, because if you're getting back from, say, we do a bit of work up here in Dublin and that as well, and if I'm heading back down the road for training, I'm not going to be much good for that session if I haven't thought it out or got a proper meal into me at the right time and you know all that kind of thing as well. So you'd learn a huge amount over the years from the people you're working with.
Yeah, it leads to good habits, Jamie. You're looking at Nick, obviously still playing club. Do you still prep like that? Is there parts of the hurling that stay, like obviously you want to enjoy yourself and you've earned the right now, but is there, like, I just know for myself, Thursdays we used to have a thing called Sharpen the Blade. So and it was just mental prep, and like that it was preparation for just step outside here. Saturday's a big game, but take an hour here to prepare yourself, like you're saying. Batch on Sunday I'm doing this, I'm going to make a load of food or get myself ready.
I do, like, I still treat it as if I'm, you know, I just have the good habits, you know. I was in there 16 years and you just, that becomes your way of life really, you know, and grand, like I can go to the wedding now, or I can go to, you know, I can do
exactly, and not feel bad about it.
Yeah, if you want to, like, you can do that and I'll have the dessert, no problem, you know, but it's, but you do, like, you learn so much through those years that carry you through the rest of your life really, but the thing is, you get used to feeling so good about yourself because you're eating right and you're sleeping right and you're never, that you kind of want to keep that feeling, like, because when you go from that to, you know, I'm after putting on a little bit of weight here, you know, that hits you really hard, that feeling. So and you want to go back and you want to chase that good feeling of always feeling fresh and always feeling healthy and well, and that's really important. And I think, and that's something you will carry, and the good habits, you know, you won't carry them every single day like the lads that are still playing, but you won't be far off it either. And like I still enjoy hurling with my club so much, like, you know, and I still prepare and do everything it takes to try and be successful in that someday. And you know, but I think there's just, no matter what you're doing, like, there's a journey there and you want to enjoy it the best, and how are you going to enjoy it the most is by giving yourself the best chance to be successful or to feel the best or be able to perform the best that you can. And for me, that's club now, and, you know, for John, for hopefully a few more years, that'll be the inter-county scene. And so, there's huge value in it.
It's great you have that, because you're probably teaching the young club player coming through that's the standard even at club. So then when you go on and represent the Premier, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it needs to even be higher again.
Yeah, it's funny, like, because, you know, I'm at the age now where, like, say, we won the All-Ireland, the team I was on in 2019, we'll say, like, so that's 6 years ago now, and I can still remember that time, young lads coming to the homecoming and all that, and like we played a match yesterday in the senior championship and there's 3 of them are starting on the team, you know, and it's just, you know, you'd hope that
you're an old goat now, Ken.
Oh, I'm very old now, yeah, but like, it's just, you know, you'd hope that they're kind of trying to follow a similar path that you followed, because that path and that journey was the best times, you know. I really enjoyed that, and I'd advise it to anyone to take that route, you know, and try and give it your best and try and be ambitious and want to play for Tipperary, because I learned so much about myself and I became, you know, a better player for being in there and a better person and everything, like the whole journey of it. And, you know, I'd love to think that that's the journey they want to take now after seeing what you know, what happened in my own career through times, or watching John McGrath there going to a match. Like the amount of kids that are going to matches in Tipperary now is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because the hype, obviously, after the All-Ireland and everything, but
Of course.
like they all want to play for Tipp now.
Yeah.
And that's huge. Like, and like the attendances at club matches there, you could see it. We played in Temple Stadium yesterday and we lost and we're devastated and all that. But like, you could see the amount of kids that are just down at the barriers waiting to burst onto the field to meet Jake Morris, like, or whoever is on the field, or, you know, a few weeks ago, or it could be John or Noel, or they just want to meet those people, and there's a huge buzz there, and that's the important thing. Like, and we want them coming, you know, and that's,
of course.
The thing evolves, and they're the guys we're going to be looking at. And it's funny how quickly it goes from a 12-year-old to an 18-year-old. You know, you're just looking at a child playing a juvenile match, and a few years later he's hurling the lights out in Temple Stadium. You know, it goes very quick.
It does go quick. Like, honestly, it's the advice. It goes fast. But John, for you, like, the pressure's nearly in the house as well. Your dad, Pat, you know, Noel, your brother, that kind of expectation from even within the family circle as well to represent. And, you know, did you feel pressured in that in any way?
Yeah, I suppose when you're younger, you probably don't think about those things as much. You certainly would be aware of it a little bit, I suppose, when you start to get to your later teens or that. You know, you'd hear little bits and pieces, and I suppose social media was kind of starting to come into things as well. But I wouldn't say, I don't think it was ever a stage where I could say I felt any pressure from anywhere, really. I suppose, like, you obviously looked up to both of them, and a lot of my earlier memories in hurling would have been watching them playing, I suppose. And you're more just hoping for yourself that you want to be like them more than anyone putting any pressure on your stuff. Certainly, to be fair, I think it's probably more of a positive than a negative for me over the years. Like, I would have learned an awful lot, I suppose, from Noel, I suppose, particularly when he was such a close age to me and kind of just that couple of years ahead of me, watching him the whole time. But even back when I was smaller, like my father, he took us everywhere, wherever he was going training. Whether it was, I'd remember him playing a little bit of senior with Lockmore in his last few years, whether it was over 40s playing with Tipp, you know, he brought us everywhere. Like, so it was a huge advantage. Like, we were always playing, and you'd always have that, not too much, but you'd always have that little bit of advice for you. And like, look, I suppose it's monkey see, monkey do. Then I suppose you're looking at you're looking up to them, and you just want to be able to do what they're able to do, and trying to copy them in bits and pieces. And then I suppose when I would have started getting onto the Tipperary scene, I suppose, and joining the seniors in 2015, I think if I hadn't probably seen the 5 or 6 years previous when Noel was involved, it probably would have been more a shock to my system maybe at the time. Like, I knew I would have known a couple of lads in there, but I think just the general, I had an idea, like, of what it took or what I'd needed, because I suppose I had played minor and under 21, and it's still a big step up. You go to probably 5 or 6 days a week training all of a sudden. Now, you'd obviously be training a lot anyway, but you're coming up against guys that are much bigger, much faster. You know, the skill level really goes up. So I would have been able to see all the things, I suppose, that he was doing to prepare himself. And, you know, any bit you can learn at that age, I suppose, is going to be a huge advantage.
Yeah. They must be so proud. Like, obviously, nominated for Hurler of the Year this year as well. Just bringing that back into the family dynamic around quality hurlers like we know they are. I'd say they're bursting with pride with you.
Yeah, look, my family have been fantastic over the years. You know, they've been a huge support to me. Like where Seamus was talking earlier about, you know, work and that, you need support there and help. Like, you without the sport, my family at home, it would have been an awful lot more difficult to get to where I am. My mother, I suppose, she'd washed more gear and cooked more dinners, and they drive you all over the country, like. So I suppose for them, seeing you being successful then as the years go on, it's something I suppose that they're really proud of, and it's great to see them being so happy, I suppose, and that all the work that they would have put in at times, that they're seeing us getting enjoyment out of it. So look, certainly to be nominated is fantastic. It's great for our family, for our club at home, and it's not one, I suppose, that I would have ever thought of or seen for myself, I suppose, particularly playing in a team sport. But I would have just always thought that them kind of things were maybe for other people, I suppose.
Well, there's one right here.
Yeah.
Jimmy, just on that, like All-Stars, you know what I mean, Hurler of the Year, John's right. None of us that play team sports look at those, but it's incredible to get that recognition as well. You know what I mean? It can't be, you know what I mean, not acknowledged. That to stand out over everyone else is quite an achievement. It must make you incredibly proud.
Yeah, it's a fantastic achievement, and like obviously you set your goals at the start of the year, and none of them are to be the Hurler of the Year or to be an All-Star. But it's nice when you have a great year that you can get recognition as well. I think, look, John has been a fabulous player for so long with Tipp. Like his younger brother Brian as well is a fabulous player, and Noel obviously is just a legend of the game. Like, and for John to come back from, I suppose, some serious injuries as well over the last number of years to get to the level that he's playing at currently is just phenomenal. Like, so, and I'm delighted for him. And he was speaking a good bit about past tense about his mother still washing the gear and all that.
Spilling them out of it.
It's my girlfriend now, so
she's there now. Is your problem has been sorted?
A person is under pressure.
Yeah, and it is brilliant. It's fantastic, and there's a certain amount of pride, even to the club coaches, I suppose, and everyone that got him to this level as well. Like, and to be able to bring that back to your club, and a medal back to your club and things like that, like. It's fantastic, like, and
but you're right. That's what's celebrated, isn't it? It's nearly the work in you. You know what I mean? That you're a Hurler of the Year. You know what I mean? That the club did that. Everyone helped shape that happen, and it gives such people such a lift.
Yeah, I think so, because it does. I suppose those type of things, it gets personal. Obviously, it's an individual thing, so it gets a bit personal, and you start to think of the under-6 coach that started you along the journey, or who brought you to train, and what, all those things, and the sacrifices that everyone else made to get you to this stage. It was like everyone was so willing with their time for you, or that kind of a thing. So I just, look, it was a real kind of a pinch me moment. I didn't think I'd get it anyway at the start of my career for sure, and through a lot of years during the middle of my career, I definitely didn't think I was going to get it either. So
well, you probably should have.
So look, I think it's a great time for whoever gets it, like, and obviously John is in the mix for it there now, but just to be even mentioned, as top 3 players in the country. There's a lot of inter-county players in the country, and it's just it's a huge achievement.
I was in Tipp on Sunday. My little girl was running in a cross country. I could not believe still the amount of bunting around the place. There's new posters going up. Like, it was important, John, wasn't it? This win was important for Tipp, and I think Seamus touched on it. It was the manner in which he did it too.
Yeah. I think you've nailed it there. Really, it was probably in a lot of ways, the unexpected nature of it. From early in the year, not so much as the year went on, I suppose, as as we got into the All-Ireland stages. Obviously, people were really gathering behind it, and you were thinking, God, maybe there is a chance here. Yeah. But I suppose early in the year, people, and probably rightly so, wouldn't have had us in the top 4, 5, 6 teams, and I think any time a team kind of does that, maybe a little bit out of the blue or unexpectedly, it creates that extra bit of that extra bit of excitement, I suppose, and it's certainly still going on down around home. There's like you said, the bunting and stuff hasn't come down. It's still flying high. And look, it's just a great buzz around the place.
Yeah.
Brilliant buzz. And the cup's kind of been going around to the schools and stuff for the last while there, and that kind of brings it all back around again for all those kids. And it's great to be able to be in a position to do that, because just the joy it brings them all. And I still remember in 2001 the cup coming to the school in Lockmore. We had a couple of players on the panel that time, and it's kind of your, maybe some of them might have seen it before from 2019 or that, but I certainly remember that first time coming to the school, and it kind of sets a bit of a seed in your head, I suppose. And if you can see your heroes there, and particularly when we had lads from the club involved, it probably makes it that more real, that if you're dreaming to do that one day, that you have people there only living a couple of miles away that have achieved it as well. So the excitement is just it's not quieting down just yet anyway.
Seamus, you've done it before, but it felt like it was an important one for Tipp, doesn't it? It would just maybe the progression of the other counties, even within Munster, just how competitive it is.
Yeah.
Last year, it felt like a massive win for Tipp, this one.
Yeah, and I think the first win of the year, it felt like actually getting out of Munster, because Munster is just so difficult.
Yeah.
And I suppose the lads would tell you, but they can't really look any further than that, because that's a competition within itself. Like, to try and get out of there and survive in Munster is very difficult. So I'd imagine that built a huge belief within the setup. But look, it is really important. And in Tipperary, most young lads you see going down the road, they have a hurley in their hand, and it's hard to believe we weren't back in Croke Park since 2019. Won the All-Ireland in 19, and you think there's another few winners, and then all of a sudden you weren't even back there for a semi-final since.
Yeah.
So it just brings the positivity, and I won't say it's the only thing people have going on, but it's a huge thing in Tipperary. Like, hurling in Tipperary is massive, and it affects people, and a lot more people than you'd think, really.
Yeah.
This year then we went and Tipp won a senior All-Ireland, and they won an under 20 All-Ireland, and now the future looks bright again, and it's a different mindset, so it's amazing what it can do for a county, really.
Because it can be tough. Seamus, I'll go to you, because it's unfair to ask you on it. But I looked at it, like the Cork's performance this year in the All-Ireland final, and then you heard afterwards all the rumours and the nonsense about the dressing room and stuff like that. And it's great, the ripple of positivity, but there is the downside of it as well, where, professional athletes don't even have to put up with this emotional buy-in that some of our incredible amateur athletes have to put up with. That downside of it as well, where people are holding to account. We mentioned people being delighted with you, but people also getting really annoyed and expecting more and being disruptive.
Yeah, like Tipperary people were overjoyed as well, but I suppose to see the way that it ended up for Cork wasn't nice for anyone either, and because we're all GA people, and we all want our team to win, but there's a respect and an admiration for everyone that takes to the field. So that wasn't nice, and did it even have to be addressed, but it was addressed anyway, and like, it was obvious to everyone that wasn't a thing that happened, and so like, you would have sympathy towards the backlash maybe of that for Cork, because they had an unbelievable year at the same time, so like, that wasn't nice. And there is a little bit of a thing in the GA that it's a bit of a free for all. If things aren't going right, that people feel they have a right to tell you where it's going wrong, and to approach you and say whatever they really want to say. But that's not lost on any players. From my own time I've been involved, we've had far more losses than we've had wins. The wins are special, but as the lads will probably face in the next few months, it's all great now, but it'll only take one loss in a league match or something, and the vibe might change again, and it's how you deal with that. And if you think that what's happening over the next few months, is the genuine side of it, in a way, for a lot of people it is, but the lads know that, like, you go back to your support system regardless. When you win, you think about, like, the hard times you had on a Monday morning, waking up at home with your family or whatever, and it's, you know, when you lose, you know, it's a lonely place.
Yeah.
And then when you win, obviously you can go anywhere you want, and it's everywhere is brilliant. But there's both sides to that, and I think the maturity of the Tipperary team at the moment, and like John has saw all sides of it as well. Like, you know, it's, you know, you can be at the top 1 minute and then the next minute you're feeling pretty low.
Yeah.
So I just think that was hard for Cork. You know, and I'm sure they'll use it as ammunition for next year. And I just think that side of it is probably a little bit wrong as well. They're amateur athletes that could be going through anything in their life, you know, and people think that it's just Cork hurling should be their life. There could be anything else going on behind that. And to come down on, you know, on any team, you know, when they're down is completely wrong. But look, I suppose the Cork supporters are brilliant as well, like the way they fill the stadiums as well. Like, so that's only a minority, and that's a very small minority as well.
And
like,
sometimes with modern society, they get the greatest platform in terms of making the noise.
Yeah.
Declan Kidney used to say it to us, a pat in the back is only a foot away from a kick in the arse, you know, and it's amazing how quickly it can kind of change in that regard of it.
That's it, and you just being aware of that is just the most important thing, like, you know, and surrounding yourselves with the people that were there for you from the bad days, and celebrating the wins with them rather than having to celebrate with just everyone, you know.
Do you see the bit, John, the kind of pitfalls of maybe it's modern society with social media, just the ease of access to you know what I mean? That it can be daunting.
Yeah, like that's probably some of it, I suppose. It is probably easy for people to have cheap shots, and look, I suppose sometimes it's whatever makes or sounds like a good story too. Whether they're true or not. You'd see stuff over the years, and you know, that particular one you're talking about with the with Cork after the All Ireland. You know, I think anyone with much understanding or knowledge of it probably quite quickly was like, that doesn't sound right. Like that sounds like rubbish. But you really need a strong support system around you for times like that. And look, you probably have to you can never really let yourself get too high or let yourself get too low with it. And look, it's easy to say that too. In reality, it can be a little bit harder because you do put an awful lot into it. You put your life on hold for a lot of months, and you know, no one goes out to play a bad game or have a bad performance. It just happens sometimes, and people probably expect an awful lot of you, and they kind of feel like Seamus said, they kind of have a free shot or a free for all to have their opinion on what you should do or how you should do it. And a lot of those people are probably coming from a place where they don't really have the experience or the knowledge of what actually goes into it and how the whole thing works. So they're just kind of piling on, I suppose, at times.
Definitely. Shemi, we'll wrap soon, but I'm just interested in, I think, like I said to you earlier on, hurling has really kicked on, man, isn't it? And I'd say when you're watching it, I make that analogy of you see chess and I'm watching drafts. You know, like, how do you see it evolving and moving on now with the manipulation of space, the use of sweepers, the different strategies that are going on? Like, for younger players coming through, what do you have to have in the toolbox now to make it?
Yeah, well, I think you have to have a lot in the toolbox. I think styles have changed though as well in the last few years. Like when I started out, it was just kind of long ball into the full forward line and traditional style hurling, just played as you see it really. Went very tactical then, and I think in fairness for the most of the championship last year and even the year previous, it went back a little bit traditional, I feel. There was a few years there and Limerick were very strong at a kind of a running game. They really have incredibly physical men that can break lines and have runners, and they're very athletic, and that was probably hard to break down. And then other teams try to maybe emulate that style. And I think the likes of, teams were playing them with maybe two inside, but I think in the last year there's kind of been a bit more 15 on 15, 3 inside, and getting back to that traditional way of hurling.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to adapt for any team you're playing. Like there's numerous different styles that teams play, and you have to be able to just, I suppose, do a little bit of everything. So like if you're a young player now, firstly, I think you need to have your physique in order. You need to really be ready to play and battle, and that's the first thing you need when you go playing. So I think it's like the physical development and the mental side of it as well. I think is huge. It's big pressure now playing for your inter-county team, and to be able to deal with that when you're a young player and being exposed to that. So I think there's a nice balance in Tipperary at the moment between older and younger players that feed well off each other. But I think the physical demands, you have to be fairly quick, you have to be fit, and you have to be strong enough to take tackles. So that's like the go-to, I think, when you're starting off. That has to be your platform, that you're able to be in the war and be able to deal with the physical demands of it.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, some players have a touch of genius then that can change games in skill-wise and that kind of thing. Like, so yeah, I think you have to be able to compete physically first. That's the most important thing. And then, you know, your skills will come to fruition then, maybe, you know. But
yeah, because it's funny, you'd actually see it. You'd see it a bit in underage games there, and it'd be you talk about systems and stuff, and I find it hard when I see like under 14 and 16 teams, and they're like, they might be trying to play a sweeper, or they're doing this thing like with sharp puck outs and stuff, and I find it hard to look at that age like that.
I get you. No,
not like, just because I think it's they're expecting a lot of young fellas, I suppose, maybe to, like, I think they have enough to be trying to learn and develop the rest of the skills and that of the game that you know, you'd see fellas getting short puck outs, and I don't think they don't really want it, or they're not really prepared for it maybe, but because of whatever way certain team might be setting up, they're doing it, and next thing you have guys that maybe, you know, they might drop a ball or two and a goal has gone in, and if someone shouting at them off the line, you know, this just as you're talking about the way the game is developing and all the different systems, I think some of that is okay at more adult level and stuff, and maybe as you get that bit older, but I think for the younger teams, they've to just develop the normal skills of the game, like, and to try and perfect them, and even for coaches, like, to be just let them hurl with a bit more freedom, let them kind of find their own way a little bit. No, I don't know how in reality easy that would be to put in place, but
no, I think you're right. I think it happens in all sports. We all follow the kind of processes to try to make them better for winning. But you're right. Just a great coach I had, Declan Kidney, was the only thing that was different all the way up were the basics done better, and he always made it meat and veg for us. Basics done perfectly, and then the speed changes, or you adapt to the structure that you're given. But if you haven't got the basics nailed down, you're not nothing, you know.
I think even with younger players now, you can't put systems in place to take away their brilliance.
Yeah.
You know, you have to let them be brilliant, or let them be free.
Yeah.
To a certain extent as well. Like, there is systems and there's a way that, you know, you want the team to play, but within that you have to have somebody that can make a decision at a stage that, you know, the ball has been worked up this far. Now I'm going to show what I'm about.
Yeah.
Or have a personality, or bring their own character to the team as well.
Yeah.
Because if we're all the same, if everyone is the same on the team, you know, where's the spark coming? Where's that moment of genius that changes a game?
Yeah.
Or, you know, they have to be free and allowed to do that. Grand, within a style of play that you've all agreed on at the start of the year and trained towards. But there comes a stage as well when the ball gets a certain area where your own intuition has to come in and just make a decision and back yourself as well.
Absolutely. And they're the best days, aren't they? When you just know and trust the player to do the right thing at the right time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just maybe a bitchy one out of me, Shamey, and I'll go to you on it. But I'm watching your game, right? And honestly, I'm just watching it for the pure joy of it. But I can't see it like you see it. Do you feel that the kind of punditry side of it now needs to evolve as well? Maybe it's different camera angles, but to show what you're seeing and the manipulation of space, I find it very, you know what I mean, this is what's always gone on, but all of a sudden hurling has expanded, and I want to know more, but I feel like I'm not getting it because maybe the different camera angles, maybe punditry, that side of it. Could that also evolve and improve?
I think so, yeah. Like, I think people that, you know, for whatever reason mightn't have been able to get to a game are only seeing 5-10 minutes of a game on, you know, the Sunday game or whatever it is. They're getting snippets of it. Nothing beats being in the stand at a higher level to be able to look down and see the spaces. I'm involved with the Offaly senior team doing a small bit of coaching there. And from what you see on the sideline compared to what you see when you're sitting in the stand watching a game are two different pictures completely. So there's definitely camera angles that could educate more people on space or awareness of what's going on around the field. Like, you know, some people might say after 20 minutes, John hasn't got a ball or something like that. But if you had a camera angle show, John actually has 10 runs made.
And
that,
he's,
you know,
he's manipulating that so that John's away.
Or John made a run to the corner there and gave Noel a chance to run through the middle, you know, with nobody on him, or he took a player out here and showing what's actually going on around the field. I think we could be doing more for the game. Because it's, you know, I suppose go back to All-Ireland final weekend, like it's best weekend in the calendar year.
100%.
You know, it's unbelievable, and the skill level these lads are at now, and the fitness level and everything, that should be exposed far more to show what they're doing.
Agreed.
So I think we're missing a bit of a trick on it now, and missing it across all levels. It's not just the All-Ireland final day. Like, there's a lot of work, great work being done at other levels. Like, you know, we saw Kildare this year, like they had a dream year. Like, we should be promoting that way more. You know, what they're doing, and go back and maybe do a bit of what are they doing at club level there that's getting them to this next level. Like, you know, what we're awfully doing to get those younger players to win you know, they're all Ireland under 20 and you know, all these kind of things. Like, you know, I suppose we concentrate mostly on, you know, who's the last four in the championship. So I think there's a lot more that could be done on it to promote our game and promote the brilliant work that these lads are doing and the skill sets they have, and how are they getting that skill set, and educating younger people to, you know, this is the route, you know, this is how they're doing it. They don't just show up on a Sunday and sure, he was born with great wrists, you know, he just does his thing. Like, no, that doesn't happen, you know. So, like, what's the process, you know, and make it more engaging and get more people involved in it. And, like, there's a huge appetite for that, I think. And why not? Like, it's our, you know, it's our biggest, our biggest sport around.
It's not even a sport for us. It's our DNA, isn't it? You know what I mean? It really is. It's beyond it.
You go into your primary school there and 4 or 5 years of age and you're just handed a hurley and you know, that's how it works, you know, and you know, it doesn't mean you're going to hurl for the rest of your life, but it's kind of what we're introduced to in most country schools, I'd say, anyway, like, and so it's huge, like, and there's a lot of players that haven't made it to that level, but at the same time they've made it to minor, and development as well it's not always the same for every player as well.
Of course,
you know, and
can hit later for certain, you know.
Absolutely, like, you could have a lad that's, you know, you could have a 14-year-old there that's 6 foot tall and he's, you know, very dominant at his age group, and there's a small little lad and he's not getting a chance because he's not strong enough, and then all of a sudden he's 18 and he's after flying past that guy, you know. And people develop at different ages as well, like, so it's how do we keep everyone involved all the way through, and get them, you know, get as many people as we can hurling and trying to make their inter-county teams. You know, get as much engagement and much involvement as we can. Like, it's some game, like, you know. And I just said I obviously love hurling, but like, it's an amazing game and it does grip the country. Like, you know, you see the way it does, and you go with All-Ireland final or Leinster final or Munster final weekend and all that, like, and what comes with it, you know. Like, just being from, you know, I'm outside Thurles or whatever, but, you know, like, the Cork come to Thurles on any weekend for a championship game, like, the support that they bring and the banter and everything around it. There's so much more than the game, you know, and how do we get that across?
Yeah, because we're probably lucky with where we're located, and, you know, because of the clubs and county that we're from, that you are introduced to it at a young age and that, but that doesn't happen everywhere in the country, I suppose. Of course. And just like you said about trying to expand that as much as you can, like, because it is some sport, like, to, you know, if you'd hear of different people and they're watching it for the first time and they're amazed by the sport, like, and the skill level and the speed of it, and there's certainly areas of our own country here that we probably need to start exposing more to hurling and football, I suppose, depending on maybe what county you're from.
Yeah. Lads, we leave it there. I just want to say thank you so much, especially for today. A really great conversation. Really enjoyed it. Congrats, John. Keep it going. Honestly, I know Shane will say it to you, but it does go really quickly, and to be as selfish as you can in that time. But this year was incredible. How you reflected where you're from was quite amazing. Shamey, you set it all in trend for them. You know what I mean? Leaving good standards and values around you, and you should be so proud of what you've done in your careers and continued success. Hopefully we see you going on and on. Obviously, it'd be nice to see Cork win one at one point, but we won't begrudge Tipp with everything they gave it this year. But thanks so much.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Under Construction, with thanks to Chadwicks. A massive thank you to you for listening. Also to our fantastic guests. If you'd like to subscribe or follow, we'd really appreciate it. Or you can hit the like button. See you next time.